Welcome to our tutorial about foreshortened dimensions. First, I'm going to activate the Smart Dimension tool. I'll apply a radius dimension to this edge here. Obviously, this dimension goes outside this drawing sheet. Let's go to the Leaders tab. Here I have the option to choose Foreshortened Dimension. I can reposition it. I can reposition both the arrow and the zigzag. Click OK. Now let's dimension the distance between this line and the center of the curve. Here a zigzag is inserted for us automatically. This concludes our tutorial about foreshortened dimensions. Welcome to our tutorial about adding sketches to a drawing. First of all, let's see how this particular part was constructed. As you see, we've got construction geometry that helps to define the geometry of our part. Now let's exit the sketch. And let's go to New Drawing, make Drawing from Part Assembly, Landscape B. In this tutorial, I'll just be using the front view. Let's click OK. Now let's go to the Sketch tab. First, I'll create a rectangle. In the Options control area, check for construction. Let's select this line and this line. Add a collinear relation. This line and this line, another collinear relation. This line, and shift select this one. Add another collinear relation. Now this curve and this line, create a tangent relation. OK. Next, I'm going to use the Center Line tool. I want to create a line between these two corners. Right-click, select. I'm going to drop 2 points somewhere here. Let's use another center line now. I'm going to touch this line and create a line from the center of this line. Right-click, select. Next, let's go to the Annotation tab. Hide Show Annotations. I'm going to select this center mark. I'm going to hide it. Now I'll select this point and this curve. I'll add a concentric relation. Select this line and this point and add a coincident relation. Lastly, I'm going to select this point and this curve, as well as this line. I'll create an intersection relation. Let's click OK. Let's add one more construction line here, center line. This one will be horizontal. Right-click, select. When you're adding sketches and dimensions to your drawing, you may find yourself in a situation where SolidWorks gives you a message. The sketch is overdefined or asks you to make the dimensions driven, something like this, for example. Now, if I put an angular dimension right here, okay, SolidWorks tells me that this dimension will make the sketch overdefined or unable to solve. Do I want to add it as a driven dimension instead? Well, yes. I'm going to delete this dimension and dimension our model. Let's show what happens if we opt to leave this dimension driving. What I end up with is an overdefined sketch. When I move the mouse in empty space, the sketch warnings disappear. Let's select the sketch. And let's double-click on the warning. Select Diagnose. The Diagnose window gives us 5 solutions. It suggests that we remove this tangency. Next, to remove the horizontal relations. To remove a dimension and a collinear relation. OK. Let's go back and remove this dimension. Accept. and the sketch is now okay. Let's apply the rest of the dimensions. We'll put an angular dimension here. We'll make it dimension driven. Next, the distance between these 2 points. When I move my mouse, the dimension keeps changing. When I find the point where I get the dimension I need, I right-click, and that locks the dimension. If I want to unlock the dimension, I can just right-click again and then adjust it as needed. You relock the dimensions with another right-click. Let's make it dimension-driven. OK. Next, the distance between these 2 points. When I move my mouse, as you see, the dimension keeps changing. What I want to happen here, I'd like this dimension to measure along this curve. I'll mouse over and then click on the curve. See how the dimension changes? I'll place it right here. Click OK. And let's place a radial dimension right here. And then we'll specify the overall width. Make it dimension driven, OK. Lastly, I'll put a radial dimension right here. And this concludes our tutorial about adding a sketch to a drawing. Welcome to our tutorial about inserting notes. First of all, we need to lock the focus on our sheet. Let's right-click on the sheet and select Lock Sheet Focus. You can achieve the same thing by double-clicking on the sheet. Next, in the Annotation toolbar, select Note, or simply right-click, Annotations, and Note. Now I'm going to draw a rectangle somewhere here. And let's type in my text. My text. The formatting capability is pretty similar to common text editing applications. For example, we've got indent capabilities, bullets, numbered lists, etc. Font size and color, bolding, etc. Here's an indent to the right. Here's a bulleted list. This button here activates a stack format. Let's say 1 divided by 5. OK. And let's enter 1 by 5. We can use different styles, different alignments. OK. Now let's scroll down the Note Property Manager. Here are border options. A box, for example. And let's click OK. We can grab our note and drag it around the graphic area. Or we have the option to lock our note in place. See, I'm not able to drag it now. Let's click OK. This concludes our tutorial about inserting and editing notes. Welcome to our tutorial about sheet and document properties. We're going to be reviewing some enhancements to these in the next few minutes. Let's start with a new drawing document. OK. Let's choose B Landscape. OK. Cancel out of Model View. Now I can right-click on the sheet and select the properties. Here we can change the standard sheet size. We can change the scale. We can select the first or third angle as a type of projection. We can browse for sheet templates. Cancel out of that. We can select a custom sheet size. Let's cancel out of this. Now let's go to Properties. Click on the Document Properties tab. And first we have the overall drafting standard. ANSI stands for American National Standard Institute. There are a number of other standards here. Let's go through these as well. ISO is the International Standard Organization. DIN, DIN is the German Institute of Standardizations. JIS is the Japanese Industrial Standard. BSI is the British Standard Institute. GOST, or GHOST, is the Eurasian Standard. GB is the Chinese National Standard. I'm going to be using the American National Standard Institute as my drafting standard, ANSI. Next, I'm going to set my units of measurement. I'm going to select millimeters, grams, and seconds. I'll choose decimal points with 2 places. The second dimension will be inches with 2 decimal places. At this point, I'll click OK. And this concludes our tutorial about properties. Welcome to our tutorial about editing the title block. Let's start by creating a new drawing document. Landscape B. Okay, let's zoom in on the title block. Now let's right-click and select Edit Sheet Format. I'm going to start with the company name. If I click here, I see an empty note. Now if I right-click, actually, let me move the block a little bit higher so we can see it more easily. If I right-click and select Edit Text in Window, we can see that the note is linked to the property company name. Let's cancel out of this. Okay, let's go to File on the main menu, Properties, choose the Custom tab, and from the Property Name drop-down window, let's select Company Name. The type we'll leave as text, and we'll enter a value here. Let's enter the company name, VTN, click OK. Now, as you can see, the company name field is populated in our title block. By the way, if you see a bunch of error messages here, go to the View command and uncheck Annotation Link Errors. Here's what I'm talking about. There's a bunch of gobbledygook here. Let's go to View and uncheck Annotation Link Errors. Okay, let's look at the Number of Sheets field. I'm going to grab this note and move it up so that I can see the Number of Sheets field a little better. Okay, if I right-click and select Edit Text in Window, we see that the note is linked to 2 properties. There's the current sheet, and the second property is the number of total sheets. Let's cancel out of this for now. Now let's insert a couple more sheets. As you see when I zoom in, that the sheet displays 3 of 3. So the info in our note did update. When I mouse over the sheet tabs, I see previews of those sheets. Let's right-click and delete. Yes. And the info in our note is also updated. Incidentally, the second sheet also shows the company name, as well as the first sheet. Let's take a look at the scale note now. Right-click on it and select Edit Text in Window. Oops, got the wrong note. Let's try that again. Right-click on the scale note, Edit Text in Window. Here we see that this note is linked to the sheet scale property. Let's cancel out for now. Now if I right-click and select Properties, let's modify the scale. We'll change it, for example, to 2:1. Let's click OK. As you see, the scale changes here as well. Let's revert back to 1:1. Click OK. And the last note, Description. Let's right-click on it, Edit Text in Window. As you can see, this field is linked to the Description property. Let's cancel out for now. And let's go open a part. B14-A. Oops, got the wrong part. All right, let's try that again. B14-A. Now when this part is opened, let's go to Properties. We'll choose Description from the Custom tab. Text. Let's enter a description. Our value will be my part. Click OK. And back to our drawing document. I simply bring in something. Let's open the View palette. There's nothing here right now. The first, select Edit Sheet, and now the model is available. Let's drag out the front view and click OK. Now, under the title note is our description, My Part. Okay, let's edit the weight field next. We're going to go back to My Part. Now let's go to File, Properties. On the Custom tab, let's choose another property from the drop-down menu, Weight. It'll be text. We'll enter Mass and click OK. Let's go back to our drawing document. As you can see, the weight is now displayed in our note. Right-click, Edit Sheet Format. And now I'm able to grab this note and drag it to its proper location. This concludes our tutorial about editing the title block. Welcome to our tutorial about linking to properties. In this tutorial, we'll be learning how to link notes to custom properties. First, let's activate the Note tool. Now let's insert a note somewhere here. Let's type the date, colon, and now I'll select the Link to Property button. Let's use custom properties from the current document, and let's choose the Short Date property. Click OK. If I want to insert more than one property, let's, for demonstration purposes, enter some text here, and now we can insert another property after our text. Let's choose Long Date. And we can adjust the appearance using this formatting toolbar. I'm going to double-click on the long date, edit the formatting. We'll change the font size. And let's click OK. OK, let's try something else now. If I right-click and select Edit Text in Window, we see that the long date and the short date are coded to display in our note. Okay, let's cancel out of this for now. And this concludes our tutorial about linking to custom properties. Welcome to our tutorial about linking to a view. We're going to pick up here where we left off in our previous tutorial about linking to properties. Let's begin by inserting a view from a different part into this drawing document. First, let's right-click and select Edit Sheet. Now I'm going to open the part B02, and let's switch back to our sheet. And zoom to fit. Let's expand the view palette and select our part. A number of views appear below. Let's drag the top view onto my graphic area and click OK. OK, let's change the scale. And OK. Now, in order to change the information in the title block, I'm going to have to right-click, and then I'll select Properties. The Sheet Properties dialog window opens. Use custom property values from model shown in. Let's select Drawing View 2, and then we're ready to click OK. Let's go back to our sheet document. Okay, as you see, the description and the weight notes have disappeared. The reason for this is that the part doesn't have description or weight assigned as custom properties. Let's do that now. We'll add a description text. Part B02. Let's add a second custom property. We'll use weight. And it's going to be mass. OK. Let's go back to our drawing document. OK, problem solved. As you can see, the weight and description notes are populated in the title block. And this concludes our tutorial about linking the title block to a particular view. Welcome to our tutorial about creating templates. Let's begin by zooming to view. Now right-click and delete. Same here. Delete. Yes. First, I'm going to insert a predefined view in my template. Go to Insert, Drawing View, Predefined. I'm going to drop it about right here. Let's click OK. Select Projected View. It'll be a top view, a side view, and an isometric view. Let's click OK. Now let's make the isometric view shaded with edges. We'll reposition them a little bit. And click OK. Now before saving the template, we need to save the sheet format. It'll be a B landscape. Let's enter an appropriate name, my B landscape, millimeters. Click Save. Before we save the template, we need to change the format. Right-click, Properties. Let's select our new document, my B landscape, millimeters, OK. Now I'm ready to save it as a template. File, Save As. Under Save As Type, let's select Drawing Template. And let's give it an appropriately memorable name. We'll call it My BMM. We can also give it a description that can be helpful. And let's click Save. SolidWorks prompts us with a warning. Templates only store predefined and empty views, so models, dimensions, and annotations will be removed from views. Let's click OK. Now let's close this document. We'll go to File, New. If you don't see this view, click on Advanced. Here we have our template, My B millimeters. Let's click OK to open it. Close. Now select the front view. Now let's scroll down the Property Manager. Navigate down to the part and click Open. And we reposition our views if needed. This concludes our tutorial about creating templates. Welcome to our tutorial about changing references. Here I've got a part B21A. I've used an extrude, an extruded cut, and a chamfer. Alright, let's tile my view so I can see both my parts at the same time, B21B and B21A. Window, tile horizontally. Part B21B is a version of the first part we just looked at. The slot was basically changed and repositioned a little bit, and as you can see, the chamfer was also removed. Okay, let's create a drawing file now. Landscape B. Okay. Let's drag in the top view from the view palette. Create a side view. Now let's dimension it. 90 by 60. 5 millimeter radius, and 36 millimeters here, and the position of the slot. Lastly, we'll dimension the chamfer. Right-click, More Dimensions, Chamfer. I'm going to select this line and this one. And let's place the chamfer dimension right about here. Let's scroll down our Property Manager. The change in dimension appears from distance angle to distance distance. I'm going to click OK. Oh, last one. The thickness of the part. All right, let's go to File and Save. I'll use the default name, Save. SolidWorks asks me if I want to save the document in referenced models. I say yes. Now let's close my document. What I want to do now is link my drawing document to the part B21B. As you see, the slot size and position have changed, and the chamfer is gone. Let's go to File, Open, select the drawing I just created. Before opening it, I'm going to click References. Here's my original part. Let's double-click it. And actually, let's cancel out of this so I can close my parts first. And let's do that again. File, Open, select my document, click on References. Select the part. Now select Part B, click Open, and as you see, the reference has changed. Click OK, and finally we're ready to click Open. This pop-up window lists our dangling detail items. Let's drag it outside. At this point, we can delete any dangling dimensions like chamfer dimensions, but I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And as you can see, the part is now rebuilt and the new dimensions applied. Since we don't have our chamfer here, this dimension has different sides. Let's select and delete. And this concludes our tutorial about changing references.